Hi everybody, Judy Tuttle here with another edition of Tuttle Thursday Tips. And today we are going to be looking at some watercolor techniques that all use either ink pads or re-inkers. Some use baby wipes, some use ink pads, some use re-inkers. We're going to be using our little spritz bottle on some of these techniques, and we're going to be using our watercolor paintbrush on some of these things too. I'm going to show you 4 different techniques that I hope you will try on your own. It's a little learning curve on all of these little things that you're just learning when you're getting started, or maybe even like me, like a couple of these I hadn't seen until like the last couple of months, and I'm having a lot of fun working with those. I'm going to get you guys on my computer over here. Make sure I can see your comments and your happy faces. Here we go. How is everybody doing today? I have been working on my beach day class for Saturday, and it's going to be a fun one. Here we are. There we go. Hi, everybody. When you come on, let me know you're here, and then we can chat together. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for coming from Hazen, North Dakota. I'm glad to have you here with me. So today, like I said, we're going to be using ink pads, re-inkers, a spritzer bottle. These come in a group of 3. You can buy them in groups of 3. And our watercolor pens. They have water in the barrel and a paintbrush on the end. Some of them are smaller and finer. We're going to be using this really wide one today. And we're going to have some fun. I'm going to turn my camera down and around for us so that you can see what I'm doing below here on my hands. I'm getting very close to being able to use my eCam system that I'm excited to show. I did a little trial yesterday. So they just announced, you guys, Stampin' Up! Just announced to all of us that Tuesday, May 21st is a free shipping day on orders over $75, okay? So if you've been waiting for a special deal, free shipping, my BOGO sale, or whatever, I want you to know that Tuesday, May 21st is a free shipping day for, any orders that you want to place through my online store, which is TuttleUpShop.com. I would love it if you would use this host code on any orders less than $150. That helps me to be able to give freebies to you guys. So that's super fun. Okay, so for today's projects, for today's watercolor techniques, I'm not going to do a complete card. I'm just going to show you the technique and how you can get some fun watercolor backgrounds, okay? Now, on all of these, I'm going to be using our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This is a thicker, more porous paper. It's not going to wrinkle and cause issues like trying to watercolor on our basic white paper. It comes in sheets that are 5 by 7. However, I cut them down into smaller pieces. 5 by 7 is too big for most of our cards. So I have a little stack here because we're going to try lots of different things. And hi from Ohio, Jean, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being here today. Okay, so watercolor paper is thicker, it's more porous. The best way to work with this is to get it wet somehow before you start adding your ink. And I'm going to show you a couple ways we can do that today. So, first technique, where to start? Okay, I'm going to take the first one, I'm going to take my watercolor brush, and I'm just going to add some water to the background here. I'm just squeezing the sides, getting the paper wet. Because if the paper is wet, it's going to absorb the ink better. It's going to soften it up, give it some fluid, some flow to your ink, okay? Now, I'm going to use Coastal Cabana on this one. I'm going to just smush it off here on my glass mat. If you don't have a glass mat, you can also use the inside of a Tupperware lid or even your Stamparatus plate from our Stamparatuses, okay? So you're gonna see that I'm gonna pick up this ink with this watercolor brush, and I'm just gonna flow it onto the card back. And you can see it kind of moves a little bit. It has some motion to it, and I'm going to show you what this would look like if we didn't watercolor, wet the back first, okay? So there you go. There's one way to get a really nice, beautiful watercolor wash on our fluid. Now you can cover the whole thing. You can leave the edges a little more white. However you do. So that is as simple as it gets right there. Now I'm going to show you if we didn't wet it first. Hi, Becky Hall from Western Washington. I'm glad you're with me today, Becky. Let's say you didn't put water. You could tell. See, it's not going to flow as easy. I mean, even the only reason it's even flowing see, it dries out very fast. It holds. Look at the difference between these two. Okay, so it's not that this is terrible, and maybe that's a look you want, but it sure paints on a whole lot easier if you wet the background first, okay? So this is a watercolor technique where you wet the paper first, you grab your watercolor brush, and you just add ink to it. Now, I'm going to grab my paper towel here because I'm going to show you something else. Maybe you don't want the water to go all over the background. Maybe you just want, so here I'm just gonna dry that up just a little bit. Let's say you want, hi Dana, thanks for joining me. Let's say you just want a kind of a blob in the background. You just want to add a little color. So I'm gonna grab it again, and you're gonna start. And you can you see how it's moving around there? And maybe that's all you want. Maybe you just want just a little color as an accent in the background. So you don't have to do the whole page. You can easily do just a part of it, okay? Just like that. Now, this is going to intensify as it dries. So I'm going to set these over here, and I'm going to move on to another fun technique. Let me grab my paper towel and kind of clean this up a little bit. And again, if you don't have a glass mat, you could use a Stamparatus plate. You can use the inside of a Tupperware lid as long as it's flat all the way across, okay? Now this technique is super fun, I think. I hope you do. We're gonna smush our ink right on to our glass mat like that. And then I'm gonna add, you know what, I think I'm gonna do some lemon lime twist next. That. I'm gonna add some granny apple green down here. There we go. Then I'm gonna take my spritzer and I'm gonna spritz my paper. Just a little water, and then I'm also gonna spritz the ink on my glass mat here. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna smush my watercolor paper right there onto and then I'm gonna lift it up. Now you can see I still need a little bit right over there, so I'm gonna put it back down. I'm gonna press in those areas that it wasn't picking up. I'm gonna lift it up, and you know what? I'm gonna take my spritzer and add a little more water right here on this side. Maybe add a little more water to my watercolor paper as well. And you just keep practicing and pressing it in. And that's going to give a little bit of a bolder look to your card background. So that is pretty dramatic, right? Now we can take our embossing gun, and that can kind of free up and dry it up just a little quicker if you want. I still like to let it, and it also kind of moves that color around. So this would be really cool for like an undercolored water scene, maybe turtles or sharks, something like that, right? So we can keep doing this. I can keep adding some spritz of water. Grabbing a piece of my watercolor paper, adding water to that, and pressing it in to my ink. Now this isn't a clean way of doing it, okay? So if you don't like to get your hands wet or inky, I mean, you're gonna have inky fingers. I guess you would wear some plastic gloves. But I think it would be harder to pick up the paper. Ooh, look at that one. Isn't that fun? I kind of like that one the best so far. So let me grab my heat gun here. I think it helped that I got my paper a little bit more wet. That is fun. Look at that. Do you guys like that? I like the color combo too. Hi, Kathy, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun one? So I definitely like this one better, and I think I spritzed my paper a little bit more ahead of time with this one than I did with this one. This one looks a little too dry, but it still is a cool technique, right? I still think it would make a cool background. All right, so that is the second method of adding some color to your cards. Let me clean this off here. Got my paper towels right here beside me. I'm going to add a little more water to this. Try to clean it up a little bit. All right, now the next one is a fun one. And all you need is a clear block. Maybe you guys can tell me which one you like the best. It's okay to like the most simple one the best too. Okay, so I'm going to get my watercolor paper again. I'm going to spritz it up. I saw my friend Melissa do this on her Facebook Live. I see a little dry spot about right there. Oh, helps if you hold the spritzer pointing to the paper, right? All right, and so I'm going to grab a clear block right here. And what color do I want to use? Maybe I'll use, I think I'm going to use the green apple green. I'm going to smush my clear block in the ink right like that, okay? And I'm going to grab my spritzer. I'm going to add just a few, and then I'm going to turn this over and smush it right into my paper, right like that. I'm going to move it around. See how it just moves that ink around on that paper? It gives a really cool background image, pretty easy. Maybe I'll move it around a little bit more. And again, we can grab our heat gun and kind of push that watercolor around on the card a little bit. Now, I haven't tried this with two colors. You definitely could. If any of you out there do try it with two colors. Let's do that right now. Let's add some lemon lime twist maybe to the bottom of this. Oh my goodness, I couldn't get, there we go. Couldn't get my ink pad to, so this is our lemon lime twist. So I'm gonna clean off my block. I'm gonna add some water again to this. Maybe down here at the bottom. See what it looks like if we add more than one color. I don't know, it might be a complete disaster, but that's the fun of this. It's like science, a science project. Like, you never know. And maybe the results will be different every time. So let me see what happens if I add a little lemon lime twist to the bottom here. That's pretty cool. I kind of like adding a second color, don't you? Look, it's more dramatic, especially around the edges. That's fun. Okay, so that's the third way you can watercolor your background of your watercolor paper. All right. Now you could pick up some ink with your watercolor pen that's kind of wet, and you can just tap color. Tap, 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 and add some blotches to the background if you wanted to add a little more texture to it. And look how it kind of washes out like that. That's fun as well. Can you guys see that? Can you see how flicking the water on it is just kind of creating some blotches and blobs that are fun? I like that as well. Okay, so the very last technique, we are going to use some baby wipes. And so let me clean this off. So for this one, I'm using 3 different colors of reinkers. I have Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, and Daffodil Delight. Those are all in our Brights collection. You need a very wet baby wipe. I just picked these up at the dollar store, I think. So these are pretty wet and moist. I'm sorry I said moist. I know that some people don't like that word. Sometimes I crack myself up. Okay, so I'm going to use 3 different ones, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So I've got a very wet baby wipe, and all I'm going to do is take this baby wipe and form a, you know what, maybe I should get all the ink off my fingers from the other projects, because my baby wipe is picking that up. Okay, let me grab another one here. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Poppy Parade, and I'm just going to put some dots of re-inker, maybe 3 or 4 is all. Okay, I'm going to start off the edge of my page, and I'm just going to, look, I'm just going to pull that re-inker across the bottom of my paper. So there's one. Now you're going to see as I do this more and more, I've got plenty of ink on this, but it's going to get lighter every time we do it. So there's the second. And let me grab my third here. Okay, so that's my third. So you can see they kind of get gradually lighter, but you could do 2 or 3 more like this and just, oops, I put my thumb in it. That's okay. It's going to all blend. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so next I'm going to bring another piece of baby wipes. Baby wipes, yep. Baby wipes, Jen. This is kind of a fun technique. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my color that I'm going to put on the other end, which I think is going to be my Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to flip these over. And I'm going to start with this one. I probably should wipe off all this Poppy Parade here. Let me spritz this and get a little wet. All right, so I've got Poppy Parade, I'm sorry, what did I say? I've got Daffodil Delight. I used Poppy Parade, so I'm using 3 or 4 or 5 dots, starting off the edge and pulling it on to the paper. Isn't that fun? So dramatic, right? Let me grab another one, and we're going to see, I think this is the medium one right here. Going to get a little bit lighter and less dramatic every time I use the baby wipe. All right, isn't that fun? All right, so now I'm going to pull in the, let me wipe off my Daffodil Delight, the pumpkin pie. So I'm going to grab another wipe here. Gonna take some pumpkin pie drops. Two or 3 or 4 little dabs there. And I'm gonna go right in the middle, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Let me grab my boldest one here. It overlapping with the other 2, because it's gonna kind of give, see how it filled in? It almost creates a whole nother shade of our rainbow there. Sorry, I folded that weird. Let me get back to where my dots were. Kind of all blend together. Let me do it on the second one. And so it's really okay that I kind of put a weird blob of Poppy Parade in the middle of that one, and I can even like pull it up here to where there's some white spots, because it's all going to blend together. If you choose the right colors, they're all going to blend together well. Okay, and then I don't know if I have enough on this baby wipe, so I'm going to add 1 more drop for this last one, and add my pumpkin pie right in the middle there. Same thing again, right? Just adding in that color, blending it in with my baby wipe. To add some cool watercolor backgrounds. Now this is the first one right here. This is the middle one, and this is lighter one. So you can see they get a little lighter as you go, but that's kind of the fun of it, right? Like you can decide what shades of those colors you want. You can even spritz on a little more water to give it a little bit more of a watercolor look if you want. So those are my 4 methods of doing a watercolor background on watercolor paper. Tell me what you think about that. Which one do you like best? So this one, and look, I got a dot of something on there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to pick it up with some, it's going to just add to the look. These I did by smushing the paper on the ink pads on my glass mat. This one I did with the block and inking up the block, and then just dabbing on some water. And then this is one where these 2 are where I watered the watercolor paper first and then just brushed on the color kind of where I want it. So I hope you guys like these ways of adding a watercolor background to your card. Let me know which one you like the best. And maybe next week I'll actually make a card with some of these. That would be fun to kind of show you what a finished card could look like. So let me pull my camera up and around. Hopefully on Monday I will be back with another great Monday at noon Facebook Live. I hope that I have my Manicam set up then, and these transitions will be a whole lot smoother for all of us. So God bless everybody. I'll see you next Monday, and let me know what you think of these watercolor techniques. What do you like best? What do you not like? Would you even give them a try? So see you soon. Bye-bye.